You know what's worse than getting lost on a school field trip? Getting lost and having your teacher tell the police you were never actually there in the first place. Yeah, I'd take forgetting my lunch money over that nightmare any day. But that's exactly what happened in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture, Japan, in 2009. And what started as a routine educational hike turned into one of the most baffling disappearances in modern Japanese history. A case where the official story, the physical evidence, and basic logic refuse to agree with each other.
Today, we're diving into the vanishing of Manami Shimomura, a case so strange that even the search dogs seemed confused. Picture this. It's October 14th, 2009, late afternoon. The air in the Gifu Mountains is turning cold as the sun dips behind the cedar trees. There's that specific smell, wet earth, pine needles, the faint metallic tang that comes before rain. A line of middle school students winds down a forest trail, their voices echoing off the valley walls. They're tired, complaining about sore feet, asking how much longer until the bus. But one voice is missing. When the teachers do a head count at the trailhead parking lot, they come up one student short, Manami Shimomura, 14 years old. Last seen, actually, nobody can quite agree on when she was last seen. They retrace their steps, nothing. They call her name into the trees, silence. Within 2 hours, police dogs are brought in. They're given Manami's scent from her gym bag. The dogs move confidently at first, then stop. Right at the edge of the trail, they circle, whine, refuse to go further. It's as if Manami's scent just ends, like she evaporated mid-step. Here's the question that kept investigators awake for months. How do you vanish from the middle of a supervised school group on a marked trail in broad daylight and leave behind no trace except a single, impossible clue that makes everyone who hears it question whether she was even there at all? Before we go further, you need to understand something about Japan. In 2009, over 80,000 people were reported missing annually. But many of these weren't kidnappings or accidents. They were evaporations. People who chose to vanish from their old lives completely. There's even a word for it, johatsu. In a society where social pressure is immense, some people decide the only escape is to become someone else entirely. But here's what makes Manami's case different. She was 14 years old. Manami Shimomura was a quiet, diligent student at Tajimi City Middle School. Not the type to run away. No boyfriend drama, no bullying reports. Her home life was stable. She liked drawing manga characters in the margins of her notebooks. The day of the hike, she'd packed her own lunch, onigiri with pickled plum, her favourite. Her mother remembered her waving goodbye that morning, saying she'd bring back photos of the fall leaves. This was supposed to be a boring, forgettable school trip. But here's what they didn't tell you. Manami wasn't the first student to go missing from Tajimi City Middle School on a mountain trip. In 2003, a 7th grade boy named Kenji Matsuda disappeared during a similar hike in the same region. He was found 3 days later, wandering along the highway 40 kilometers away, barefoot and non-responsive. When questioned, Kenji kept repeating, "I followed the teacher. The teacher said to follow." But the teacher had never left the group. The incident was quietly buried. The school never connected it to Manami's case. Local investigators later discovered the school had a pattern of underreporting strange incidents in these mountains. Students seeing doubles of themselves, hearing voices that matched their own, all dismissed, all hidden. Why? The school was facing budget cuts. Admitting they had a cursed field trip location would have been institutional suicide. Now let me tell you about that mountain. Mount Ontake is Japan's second highest volcano and one of the country's most sacred peaks. It's been a pilgrimage site for over 1,000 years, but it's also a mountain of death. In 1979, an eruption killed 58 climbers. In 2014, 63 more died, Japan's deadliest volcanic disaster in modern history. Local villagers call certain parts of the Ontake Range Kami no Ryoiki, God's territory. There's an old belief, if you anger the mountain spirits, they take something precious, usually a child. Let's walk through what happened on October 14th, 2009. Tajimi City Middle School's 8th grade class, 43 students, 4 teachers, boards a charter bus at 8:30 a.m. The plan is a simple 4-kilometer nature hike along the Kisakaido Trail. Nothing dangerous, just scenic forest. The bus arrives at 10:15 a.m. Students are divided into 3 groups. Manami is assigned to Group B, led by Mr. Hayashi, a geography teacher who'd done this exact hike a dozen times. According to the official timeline, the hike begins at 10:30 a.m. At 2:45 p.m., the groups reconvene at the parking lot. Mr. Hayashi does a head count, 42 students. Panic. Recount, still 42. He radios the other teachers. Is Manami Shimomura with you? No, no, no. By 4 p.m., a full search team is deployed. The dogs pick up Manami's scent from her gym bag. They lead searchers to the exact spot where Group B had stopped for lunch, a clearing about halfway through the trail. Then the scent stops. Not fades, stops. The handlers describe it as unnatural. One officer later said it felt like tracking someone who walked into a wall, but there's no wall, just trees and silence. Now, here's the detail that turns this into something you'll think about at 3 a.m. On October 15th, one day after Manami vanished, the school receives a phone call. A girl's voice, quiet, polite. This is Shimomura. I'm sorry for causing trouble. I'm safe. I'll be home soon. Click. Police trace the call. It came from a payphone in Nakatsugawa City, about 20 kilometers from the trail. They rush to the location. Nothing. No witnesses. When police play the recording from Manami's parents, her mother bursts into tears. That's her voice. Her father agrees. The speech pattern, the formal apology, it's exactly how Manami talks. But then they interview the students, and 6 of them, 6 different classmates, say the same thing. Manami wasn't on the bus that morning. Not. We don't remember seeing her. They're certain. One girl, Rika Yoshida, says she asked Mr. Hayashi during the bus ride, "Where's Shimomura-san?" And he told her Manami had called in sick. But the school attendance log shows Manami marked present that day. Mr. Hayashi denies ever saying she was sick. He insists she was on the trail with the group. But when pressed, he can't recall a single specific moment of seeing her. Not on the bus, not at lunch, not walking. It's like a memory that should exist but doesn't. The phone call was real, the voice was real. But was Manami ever on that mountain? Now let me tell you something that only came out years later. Something that changes everything. Manami's grandmother had disappeared in the exact same area in 1978. Her name was Tomoko Shimomura. She was 34 years old, a schoolteacher herself, leading a student hiking trip along the same trail. She stepped off to check on a student who'd wandered toward a shrine. She never came back. Search teams found her jacket folded neatly on a flat rock. Nothing else. Manami's father actively hid this from police. He later admitted, "I didn't want them to think my family was cursed." When Tomoko disappeared in 1978, one of her students reported seeing her walk into a circle of stones and hearing her say, "I'll be right back. I just need to apologize." Apologize to whom? Both Tomoko and Manami disappeared on school trips. Both vanished near shrines. Both were last seen by people whose memories became unreliable. In Japanese spiritual tradition, tatari refers to a curse that passes through bloodlines, triggered by an ancestor's offense against spirits. Did Tomoko disturb something in 1978? Was Manami paying the price 31 years later? That phone call. Audio forensics later revealed something disturbing. Voice match, 97.3% Manami. But the background sounds included wind through leaves and a low-frequency hum similar to volcanic tremors. And Manami used a phrase, "Gome waku wo kakete," an extremely formal apology that a 14-year-old wouldn't naturally use, but an older Japanese speaker would. Some researchers believe the call wasn't made by Manami, but by something using her voice, the way an echo remembers. And those 6 students who said Manami wasn't on the bus? By 2011, 4 of them had reversed their statements. Rika's father was a local city official. If students testified that Manami was never on the trip, it would imply catastrophic negligence. Some believe the families were pressured to correct their children's memories. But 2 students, now adults, have never changed their stories. Both insist Manami Shimomura was not on that bus. So what happened? 3 theories, and why each one falls apart. Maybe Manami ran away, used that infrastructure of deliberate disappearance Japan is known for. The phone call supports this, but she was 14, with no money, no motive. And how did she erase her scent mid-trail? How did 6 students remember her being absent when the teacher remembers her present? Maybe someone grabbed her during a moment of distraction. But the trail was narrow. A stranger forcing a struggling teenager would have been seen or heard. And if she was taken before the hike, why was she marked present at school? Or maybe, and this is the theory investigators won't say out loud, Manami walked into a thin place. A location where the barrier between our world and something else grows permeable. Sacred mountains, ancient forests, volcanic zones. The Ontaki region checks every box. Maybe Manami did board the bus. But somewhere between the parking lot and the trail, she crossed a threshold. She continued with the group in one reality, but in another, she was already gone. The phone call was her, calling from where she was, which wasn't entirely here anymore. The scent trail ending, the memory discrepancies. Reality couldn't reconcile her presence and absence. It's been over 15 years. No body has ever been found. No arrests made. Her parents still return to that trailhead every October 14th, calling her name into the trees. Mr. Hayashi, the teacher, gave one final interview in 2012 before refusing to speak about the case again. He said, "Sometimes I wonder if I really saw her that day, or if I just remember thinking I should have." In 2023, Tajimi City Middle School quietly stopped all overnight trips. Former staff whisper that they've had 3 more students report seeing doubles of themselves since 2015. The cases never make the news, but the mountain remembers. Here's my question for you. If Manami was never actually on the mountain, whose scent were the dogs following? And if she called saying, "I'll be home soon"? In 2009, why do hikers still report hearing a girl's voice near that area, saying the exact same thing year after year? Is it a recording? Or is she still trying to find her way back? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want more cases like this, disappearances that break the rules of logic, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. And maybe check in with your friends after their school trips, just in case.
Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Every tap and share helps us bring ye more terrifying true stories, disturbing encounters, and chillin' mysteries. Tales designed to keep ye up at night. This is Dark Hour Diaries, where your nightmares find a voice. Arr!